So technically this is a hot set ready to film. We have a photo right there of what the sets would have looked like from up above with the catwalks and the light fixtures overhead. Now I can definitely vouch for the crew back then. It would get hot on set. So hot they would roll in portable air conditioners to cool things down during filming. However, they'd have to turn them off during filming as they would interfere with the audio equipment. You'd still see their makeup start to zigzag or melt down the side of their face. With the exception of Captain Kirk and Commander Spock, of course. Normally I'd insert a joke right here about how they were always cool under pressure, but really, they just had people paying better attention to their makeup application. I want to point out again, all those bright colors, you'd see them paint on the walls with the lights and even with the paints themselves. Because RCA, the television maker, would push for all these production companies to flood the sets with color. And they did just that with Star Trek. From the golds and the reds to the fabrics to the bright OR green on the wall. In this bed right here, you'd see Khan recovering, learning how to run the Enterprise, or sabotage and destroy it like you saw in Space Seed. You'd see Khan get out of the bed right here, played by Ricardo Montalban, and he grabbed the big blade right off the wall there to threaten Dr. McCoy's life with it. We would never put a real blade on the wall where someone could get hurt or hurt themselves. Captain Kirk could be on the bed right now. Heart rate and BP are great. Spock might be having a corner. A lot of people don't realize this about the Vulcan physiology, but the Vulcan heart is located right around where the human liver is. So Bones would often at times poke fun at Spock and say sometimes it gets you right here. Or in your case, right here, picking on the location of his heart. This room was also used as the Universal Chapel like you briefly saw in Balance of Terror. I would not want to be in this room if the shields failed, especially if she was hit by a photon torpedo, because out you'd go. The other signatures that you see right there that I just pointed at, Lee Merriweather, Charlie Brill, Walter Koenig who played Chekhov, Lieutenant Leslie, Eddie Paskey himself, and the beautiful Barbara Luna. You'll actually notice for the circuit right here, the little JTK for James T. Kirk. They would leave little jokes like that for the actors to see during filming to bring up the morale of everyone on the show. And there's always that fine line of actual studio and museum where that comes in. That's why you'll see we still use the same style one by plywood and such that they would have used back then. Now the cool thing is we own the building, so we're not going anywhere. So we'll be here for years and years to come. One of the things I can tell you, for example, our Trekonderoga event, we tripled our numbers from the first year. The first year we did roughly 200 people. Second year, 400. This past year we did 8.
Wow.
I've had people come from all over the world, Ethiopia, Japan.
Wow.
The Salt Vampire Nancy and Nagoran that you saw up front were originally sitting at the Star Trek Experience out in Las Vegas at the Hilton when that was open. When the Hilton decided to take it out, they sent them back and mothballed them. When we go into Kirk's quarters, there is an original prop. We try to keep a lot of the originals behind the glass. For example, Lieutenant Uhura's red dress, Kirk's wrap tunic, the uniform from Bread and Circuses, and the Klingon uniform and the pilot era uniform. All of those were screen worn. They would redress this room to be everyone's quarters. Come on in. Today it's dressed up as Captain Kirk's quarters. Now if this was Spock's quarters, we would have entered from the door next door. I also learned a lesson a couple of weeks ago. Never ask a little boy who's a Captain Kirk fan if he knows the combination for Kirk's vault on the other side. He knew it. They got the idea from a submarine for the Jeffries tube. Now they cut it, the sonotube at an angle, but they would always film it from the off angle, from the engineering section looking this way, to give the illusion that this is a round opening rather than an oval one when you stand in front of it. They would also film from above down, but never from below up. Imagine seeing Scotty laying in here, swing out, hit the intercom button, and tell them, try it again. They're having issues with the warp circuits. You'd see him swing out and tell the captain. If she gives her any, he's giving her all she's got. If he gives her any more, she'll explode. One day, he would take James and William Tice, the original series costumer, who was also there for the first season, and he'd take them both across the street to a hardware store right across from where they were filming Next Gen. Not only that, he'd take them over to their paint department, pull out every color card they had, mark off every paint chip he used during the original series run. So every color that you see that we used came right from the man himself. The show Time Tunnel, they make every ring of the time tunnel smaller and smaller the further they went back. Kind of like in The Wizard of Oz also with the Yellow Brick Road. They would actually make it narrower and narrower toward the wall, and then they would use that painted backdrop like you were thinking to continue the effect. Unfortunately, you can't climb up there, however you can take cool poses to make it look like you're about to go up to do repairs. We're building the sighting scope just like they did. It was an aluminum top with aluminum arms and everything that opened it up, and a chain drive that caused the sighting scope to come up. We're doing it the same exact way. 10 out of 8 shows you were watching back then, or 8 out of 10 shows rather, sorry, were filmed at Desilu. Hogan's Heroes, Car 54 Warrior, Sergeant Bilko, Naked City, Star Trek, Mission Impossible. They were designing those for the late 70s show that they were developing. It never got off the ground because you'd see, for example, Star Wars come out in 77 along with Close Encounters of the Third Kind and other sci-fi movies. So they would scrap everything from Phase 2, the costumes, and they would just reuse the sets they were building for Phase 2 and use those for the motion pictures. They never knew 50 plus years later Star Trek would still have the same drive as it does now. Differences between the tricorders. For example, Dr. McCoy's, when you open the second drawer right here, has the little cylinder and the white lucite. Now in Charlie X, you'd see them clear out everything that screamed engineering. You'd see gymnasts doing cartwheels through the doorway right here, coming to the door. Behind the scenes, just to make it flash and change. Unfortunately, like I said, we do have to return in 2017.